and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be picking my TBR for the month of October, and I'm going to be using my TBR jar with prompts to help pick out my TBR. I have my TBR cart next to me. It has all the books that I mentioned in my fall TBR that I wanted to read this season, as well as a few more, just like more romances and stuff that are just on my physical TBR, because there weren't too many of those in my fall TBR, but I still want to get to some this month. So that's all there is to it. So let's get into picking our first prompt. Added in 2023 to the TBR. So I have my reading journal here. I keep like a record of when I purchased each book, what year it was added in. There are a lot of books on here, and a lot of them are on my TBR for the fall time. Ones that stick out to me are Queen of Shadows, to continue on in the Throne of Glass series, Scythe, City of Bones, The Inheritance Games. Is that on here? Yeah, The Inheritance Games. Ooh, Divine Rivals, Billy Summers, Vicious, ooh, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and that's it. Those are all the ones that really pique my interest in terms of they are on my fall TBR and I bought them in 2023. This is so hard. I think I'm gonna go with the safe one that I'm like really sure that I'm gonna read, and that is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. It's gonna be our first book on the TBR. I think I'm going to stack them up here just because I'll be turning my TBR cart around and around. So I feel like putting them on the shelf behind me, we'll be able to see it throughout the whole video. Moving on to our second prompt. Ooh, okay, a 5-star prediction. That's tough. I feel like Queen of Shadows is a 5-star prediction. Okay, I also have some romances that are not part of my fall TBR, but also I have a few that are not on my TBR cart just because they don't all fit, which is kind of embarrassing. Anyways, I'm going to go grab the ones that I'm thinking of and I'll be right back. Okay, the two books that I brought back are Funny Story by Emily Henry. I've been wanting to read this one for so long. I just wanted to wait for the paperback to come out because it is so expensive. It's like literally $40 in Canada for the hardback, but I went to a secondhand bookstore and it was literally there for half the price. So this is a new addition to my TBR. I really want to read this. I'm super excited for it. But the other book I also brought is Addicted for Now. This is the third book in the Addicted series, and I gave the first book 5 stars and I give the second book 4.5. This series is just so good and I just really want to continue on in it, but I think for the 5-star prediction, I'm gonna add Funny Story. I love the concept of the plot line for this one. All I've heard about it in terms of the plot is that there's essentially two couples and they both go through a breakup, and the people who break up with the other person get into a relationship with each other. And so then the two people who just got broken up with decide to move in together because they were both like serious relationships. So they were living with the other person, they were living with their partner, and so they decide to just live together, just like sort of like the easiest thing for now, and then a romance blossoms between the two of them. And I just think that that's really funny. I've also heard that it's giving the similar vibes to like New Girl with Jess and Nick, and I just think that that is so funny. I just love the concept. I think it's gonna be really good, and I've heard really mixed reviews, which is I'm a little bit apprehensive to pick this for my 5-star prediction just because I've heard really great things, and then I've also heard things a little bit more like people had been a little bit more disappointed in it, so we shall see. But I predict that this is gonna be 5 stars for myself. So second book on the TBR. I also forgot to mention, I think I'm going to do 10 books. I did 10 books last month and it was really great to have all those options. I ended up reading 7 books out of my TBR and 8 books total, so I did really well on it. It was nice to just focus in on 10 books, and even though I didn't finish all of them, I still got like a good chunk through them. Yeah, I think that 10 was a really good number. On to our third prompt. Book with a green cover. Okay, I kind of like the really broad ones sometimes just because I feel like it gives me a bit more options in terms of what I want to read. So green covers. Okay, I actually have 4 really good options for the green covers. The first one is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I literally stopped in the middle of a chapter, but I'm 110 pages in. I did watch the movie, which is why I stopped reading this book, but I think that like enough time has passed where I think I could pick this book up again. Also, just because I have gone like 1/5 of the way through the book, that's still like a substantial amount, and I want to make it a goal before the end of the year to finish all the books that I have started, not just like a couple pages, but like I've gotten a chunk through. I feel like I want to finish those before starting fresh in the new year. The next book is on my fall TBR and it's Half a Soul. I don't know too much about this, but I do want to go in kind of blind. I haven't started this. It's a bit of a shorter book. Yeah, under 300 pages. Yeah, I feel like this would give really cozy, good fall vibes, and it's nice to have a fantasy that's like a little bit shorter sometimes. The next next two books are actually both the beginning of a trilogy. I'm a little bit apprehensive going into another series, but they're both on my fall TBR, and the first one is A Darker Shade of Magic. This is part of the Shades of Magic series. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard really good things. I do have all three books, and I'm pretty sure this is like fantasy, dark academia, those kind of vibes. And then the last book is The Inheritance Games, which I've heard really great things about this book. I've heard most people love this series. I've heard that it's really fast paced. There is a love plot in here as well, a love triangle. But the main plot of the story is that this girl gets a huge inheritance from this man that I don't think has ever met, but she has to go through a bunch of riddles to gain access to that inheritance. So this is us just following her along that journey with two brothers. Okay, so those are the four options for a green cover. Honestly, I don't think I could go wrong, but I think that the two that are most compelling to me right are either Half a Soul or The Inheritance Games. Like, this one is tempting because it's just a standalone, but I think I'm gonna pick The Inheritance Games. I feel like I've just heard such great things about this, and I feel like the fall time is the absolute perfect time to read this. It just seems really cozy. It's a YA fantasy. I believe it's fantasy, but it could just be a YA fiction. Okay, so that is the third book added to our TBR. Next prompt. I've definitely put too many colors on here. Book with a white cover. That's fine. I don't mind it. I don't have that many books with like just a white cover on them. Okay, I think the only one that I have that's truly a white cover is Addicted for Now, which I'm not mad about. I considered doing this one earlier for, I think it was the 5-star prediction, and there's a lot of red on it, but like it is a white cover with red on it. It's not a red cover by any means, and I think it's the only white cover I have that I can think of right now. There might be another one out there, but not on my TBR card, that's for sure. Addicted After All is going to be the fourth book on the TBR. That was short and sweet. Enough with the colors now. Let's do something different. Come on. Okay, book with less than 300 pages. Okay, not bad. I think I got one in a past TBR where it was like under 200 pages or something, and I couldn't find anything that was under 200 pages. Okay, so Half a Soul is under 300 pages. 7 Year Slip is just over 300 pages. The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery is under 300 pages. Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. It's just over 300. The Villa, maybe. This is under 300 pages as well. Okay, that's it. The only 3 books on my shelf that are under 300 pages. So far I have like 2 romances and 2 fantasy, which isn't too helpful. I have 1 fantasy, 1 romance, and 1, I think it's like a mystery thriller, The Villa. I don't know, these all seem like such good options. I don't know why, but I'm drawn to The Villa. I can't explain why. I just feel like I wanted to read this not like in the summertime, but towards the end of the summertime, and I feel like if I don't put it onto my October TBR, I'm not going to get around to it until next year. I just feel like this season is like perfect for it right now. I'm also not a huge mystery thriller gal, but I don't think this one is too spooky, which is why it's on my fall TBR, so I think I'm gonna give this one a go. Okay, we are halfway through our TBR, so moving on to prompt number 6. Okay, no, this is so funny. Shortest book on the TBR. Well, I can look at these 2 already. That's so funny. What are the odds of that? Oh my gosh. Okay, this one is 258, and I believe this one is a bit longer. This one is 280, so this one is 22 pages shorter. So Storied Life of A.J. Thickery is going to be the next book on the TBR. That was so quick. That was so funny to have one that's under 300 and then the shortest book. Next up, our 7th book on the TBR for over a year. So I'm gonna go back into my reading journal. I'm gonna go and look at the books that I had bought in 2022 because I didn't keep track of like which months in 2023 I bought them. Just gonna go into 2022 and see what we have. Ooh, this is an interesting one. We have As Good as Dead, The Atlas 6. Are those the only 2 left that actually interest me at the moment? Oh wait, Dance of Thieves, what is that? Oh, Dance of Thieves. And we also have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. So the Atlas 6 doesn't really interest me too much at the moment. putting that one on the back burner. So for the meantime, I have As Good as Dead and Dance of Thieves. I think just because we're in October and we have spooky season, I'm going to pick As Good as Dead. Finish off the trilogy, which is super nice instead of starting a new duology. I feel like that is a huge factor, and also having a mystery thriller done during spooky season is the way to go. Now we have 2 mystery thrillers on my TBR. This is so crazy. The Good Girls Guide to Murder series I think is the only other mystery thriller books I've like ever read, so we'll see how that goes, but it is the time of year for it. Alright, prompt number 8. Part of a trilogy. That's so specific. Okay, part of a trilogy. We have A Darker Shade of Magic again. I think Scythe is part of a trilogy as well. It's so funny, I either have like duologies or like huge series. I think those are the only 2 that are part of a trilogy. And unfortunately, they're the 2 first books in a trilogy. I think I'm gonna do A Darker Shade of Magic. I've just heard really, really great things about this. I've like just heard people talking about this, but I feel like I always hear people talking about it in like hauls and maybe in like TBR videos. I feel like I don't ever see anybody reading this. So maybe in the future. I'm not like, I do want to read it at some point, but I think this one is just calling to me a bit more. Only 2 more. I'm always so sad when it gets to the end of these. They're just so fun. Prompt number 9. Highest rated on Goodreads. Okay, I actually recently just put all of my physical TBR into a Goodreads list. So let me go grab my phone. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Okay, Kingdom of Ash, Empire of Storms, Queen of Shadows. Ridiculous. Those are the top 3 highest rated on my TBR, which is insane. I guess I could put Empire of Storms because that's a tandem read and we already have so many books on my TBR. I think I'm gonna wait and not put that on there. So next would be Crooked Kingdom, but that's the 2nd in the series. So I think I'm going to put the 1st in that duology. And Six of Crows is just like a little further down. It's only 2 books after Crooked Kingdom, so I think that this duology is like, after Throne of Glass, this duology is the most highly rated. So to me, it just makes sense to put Six of Crows on my TBR, which is so exciting. I've been wanting to read that series for so long, and I think the fall time, especially in like October, is the perfect time to read it. We have 4 fantasy, we have 2 mystery thriller, and we have 3 romances. I'm not gonna lie, I think for my last one I do want a romance. We'll see what we get. Alrighty, last prompt for October. Book with an orange cover. I was hoping we were not going to get too many more of these color ones, but here we are. Literally, Tower of Dawn is the only one that has like a really, really orange cover. And had I put Empire of Storms on for the highest rated, then we could have had our tandem read. But these are really long and I already do have Queen of Shadows on there, so I think I don't regret it, but it doesn't leave me with much in terms of an orange cover. The only one that I see that is like orange-esque is the 7-Year Slip. I think you could see this as yellow or orange. It's like really right in the middle. This one's kind of orange at the bottom and then yellow at the top. But I think I'm gonna do the 7-Year Slip. I feel like this is such a sweet romance to read in the fall time with just like magical realism aspect of it. It just seems like a really cozy romance. It doesn't seem too long, which is nice. I feel like I've read a lot of long romances this summer, so having just like a short and sweet one I think will be nice, especially to cut through all the fantasy that we have on the TBR. Alright, I'm so happy that this is the last book on our TBR. I also put this on my September TBR and I was so sad that I didn't have the chance to get to it. So I'm so glad that I got to have a second chance to be on my TBR for the month of October. So these are all the books that are on my October TBR. I have 10 books selected and I really, really like the ones we picked. I'm so excited. I'm going to do a quick fire recap as we put them onto my TBR card. Queen of Shadows, Funny Story, The Inheritance Games, Addicted for Now, The Villa, The Storied Life of AJ Thickery, As Good as Dead, A Darker Shade of Magic, Six of Crows, and finally The 7-Year Slip. Alrighty, so we're all done picking out the TBR. I think it looks really good. I think that we have an amazing reading month ahead of us. Unfortunately, we will be starting 3 series. We will be continuing 2 series and we'll be finishing 1 series. So that kind of balances out, making progress in 3 and starting 3 more. Not too bad, not too bad. But anyways, I had so much fun picking this out with my TBR jar. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!